Welcome to Dad Talk Podcast. This is our new YouTube channel. We're trying something new. You could find us on Facebook Live, Instagram, and then also streaming live on anchor.fm. So sit back and relax, whether you're listening in your car or watching while you're at home or in the office. Welcome to Dad Talk Podcast. Enjoy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining Dad Talk Podcast. In tonight's episode, we'll be talking about irons in the fire and what that actually means. You have to think about it like this. We have to be proactive in a way of doing things as far as exploiting our gifts, our talents, our skills, our hobbies, investments, plans, and jobs. So we want to make sure that we have multiple irons in the fire, more than one thing working for me. So you can't be what they call a one-trick pony. You can't be a person that's just relying on one thing because life will teach you that, hey, if this is not going well, you better have a backup. You better have something else working at the same time that you're working your gift, you're working your talent. So is great to have that type of mindset to have different things working at the same time. Not meaning that you're just staying busy, but literally having things working at the same time because if one fails, the next one may pick up, So just like in business, I've learned that I started out writing books, right? Then after writing books, I started out publishing books. Then after publishing books, I learned how to do book covers. I learned the math on book covers. Then also I started my own foundation with helping kids write their story. So I coined the term hashtag write your story. So that's my trademark, hashtag write your story. So I registered hashtag write your story and I own that trademark. So that working with the foundation, working with let's just start out with just the business alone, working with the business that you have to now when you have a business or you have anything that you're working with, you have to make sure that that thing is multi-level and it's almost like a spider, and it has legs that can grow, and those legs that can grow and those legs that reach certain things are your irons in the fire. So just in case that one thing is not working, then here's another thing that's working, here's another thing that's working, here's another thing that's working. So the hardest thing for most folks is really taking the time to face your fears when it comes to that. Because you hear this story or you hear this line all the time and say, basically you are a master of or jack of all trades, right? But they say master of none. So you really can do so many different things and it almost comes out to be a negative the way that it's said. You are jack of all trades, a master of none. So you figure you hear the last part, master of none, like, is it bad that I know how to do a lot of different things? Or is it a good thing that I can do multiple things? So it has you to answer that question. And I will always say for survival, for being resourceful, it's good to have so many different things that you know how to do that at any moment in time, you can pick up, make $1 here and there, or pick up and do certain things. I heard in a conversation a while ago when we were talking, it was in the some conversation that we were having in the men's group, is that certain well, all males need to have a certain type of portfolio. You need to learn how to do something. So say like fixing a car tire, changing a car tire, um, working on a car, you know, brakes, all of that, right? That it should be something in your repertoire that you should be able to do um, one of those things, and that makes you more resourceful. So when you think about putting my irons in the fire or building that repertoire, you want to look at it and say that, and look at it in this way, is that if I had 5 irons in the fire, those are 5 valuable things that I can actually do. And at any moment in time, something will come up and I will be resourceful and I'll be able to, whether, get a job doing that or helping someone out, So it's always good to build your repertoire. Even folks nowadays are going into improving themselves, right? I was telling you I was doing the exercise. I'm improving myself. People are learning a new language, they're learning about technology. So that right there can make you a boss in itself, is that if you learn how to do the technology that you're trying to go into, that you're seeking. So those who are out there doing music, right? It is imperative that you know more about the music game than the people that are looking to hire you, because now you should research and learn about contracts, right? What are, if you're going that way and you're fortunate enough to get into a contract with someone, you need to know all of the verbiage. You need to know exactly what that all means. Going into how things are actually structured, as far as the loops, as far as the bars, as far as creating a song from the beginning to the end, working with bridges, working with loops, working with, cadence, the whole nine. You need to learn that whole structure. So then that way, when it does come up, they'll, they'll look at you and say, oh man, so you know how to sing or you know how to rap. But then they find out, oh man, so they know how to do some beats over here. They understand engineering. They understand how to close this loop and clean it up, and they learn, no beat patterns and this and that. Now you have now made yourself more resourceful, in an area where you just went in doing one thing, and now you're pulling out and putting your different irons out there, and you're like, I know how to do this, and this. So when I look at myself, and I look at all of the things that I know how to do, and again, I'm not trying to brag or nothing. It's just these are things that I know how to do. They say necessity is the mother of invention. So sometimes when it's um, needed, you need to learn how to step up to the plate. So my daughter being, I think Kaya was what, 5 going on 6 at the time that I became let's see, do my math right. Well, right around that time that I became a single father, and I had to learn how to keep her hair up, right? So I gained the skill at doing hair because I wanted her to not feel a void, that when she went to school, the kids, little girls would be like, oh, look at her hair. And then at the same time, I couldn't really afford to pay a hairdresser every week to keep her hair up. So I learned how to do hair. Nowadays, when we think about things that you need to know how to do uh, in the business field, out there in the world, that may be, for one, the one thing that keeps you from getting that position, keeps you from getting that job, is that they look at a well-rounded person, and you have to do your research and figure out, okay, for this job, what else is it going to take for me to get this particular job, or to keep this particular job? I'm going to have to probably train, do some training, find out what's going on out there in the world, and I can only use like analogies that I'm comfortable with that I've actually had experience. So say like if you are a new car salesman, which I was before, um, I sold cars. I had to make sure that I was a step ahead of my competition. So what I would do is that on my, days that were real slow, I take my tie off and probably jump in my car and then drive to a dealership and act like I wanted to buy a car. So I had to do a little bit of research and find out, exactly what they were saying, comparing their car to our car that we were selling, and, you know, build my repertoire up in a sense where I could literally outsell that next person because I knew enough about their particular vehicle and I knew the good points of my vehicle. It might have been a vehicle that was like a Mercedes or a better vehicle, but I was going after the things that I could talk about my vehicle and make my vehicle seem to be that much better, and then listen to the customer and really drive the point home to the customer why they should buy my car, why they should invest their money into my car. So you have to understand that when you're out there working, there's always going to be someone else that's going to be out there gunning for your position. But you have to have a lot of irons in the fire, even within the work that you're doing, whether it's things that are not related to your job and also things that are actually related to your job. So when you look at certain jobs, they're looking at certifications, right? So you're looking over and you're like, well, how come so and so got a raise? How come so and so doing this? But what they're doing at the same time is that they're putting more irons in the fire. They have more work that they're doing, more certifications that they're getting because they know that when they line it up, all of these things are going to matter in the workplace at the end of the day. What certification I have here, what certification I have there is going to literally matter, you know. So you have to make yourself resourceful, whether it's on the job, away from the job, or in life. You have to have certain things that you know how to do. And that's the name of the game, having different things that you know how to do and do well to actually survive and to actually be successful in this world, because is not one of those one trick ponies, and a lot of times certain people can do that. You can be um doing one thing, but still within that job you still have to have certain things going all at the same time, you know. So you have to be aware of that, not to just put all your eggs in one basket, and I've learned that a long time ago. You just can't stack all your eggs in one basket, because if that thing fails, what you gonna go to? What's next? If that opportunity or that door closes, what can you do? What's up, Joey? How you doing, man? You know, um, and I'm gonna use you as an example, Joey. Joey plays in a band, right? He knows how to play those congos real good, and he does other things in his personal life also. So he has that iron in the fire that if things go haywire, he can always go to this particular skill, that particular skill, or he might get into prize fighting. Who knows? He might get into that, but there's always an opportunity out there that we have to create for ourselves. We can't wait for someone else to give us that opportunity. So we have to work on a couple of things, where is improving ourselves mentally, improving ourselves with education, improving ourselves with a certain type of fortitude where we can actually exist and survive in the world of business, the world of wherever your job is, and not go cuckoo for cocoa puffs because you got things coming at you this way, that way, or whatever, and you just trying to survive and adjust. But We have to build those certain things up about ourselves. Then also have some things that is about us that's connected to what we love. They say that when you love something and you're working in it, it doesn't feel like it's a job. Basically, it just feels like, this is something that I love, and you excel in it because you love it. Can I turn my skills, my gift, my love into something that maybe, can be monetized in a way? Can I do it in a way that now this is a stress reliever? So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that. But if I can just get over here and do this real quick, then that's my stress reliever. Then now I'm feeling a little bit better about myself and about life because I'm not just on the hamster wheel doing that thing 24/7 and then looking around and saying, damn, what the hell I do all this for when I'm not really, enjoying myself. So those irons in the fire really, really matter, you know, because it matters to a point where just in case, you know, just in case something goes wrong, what can you do? And I always tell folks the best thing that they invented was the internet, YouTube, all, a lot of this stuff has a lot of information on there that you can take advantage of, So you want to learn how to do something on the side. You don't have to always feel that you are stuck in a box and say, okay, well, I need to go to school for that. I need to do this. I need to do that. They have a study that came out, and I can't quote the study 100%, but they were looking at the advantages of just really learning the skill over going to 4 year, 5 year school, just learning the skill because the information is what they're looking for. You knowing how to navigate and knowing how to actually do the job is worth way more than the paper. Because a lot of times you have folks that have the paper and may not be well versed in whatever they got the paper for. So more companies are being, they're looking at it and they're like, wow, they're being a little, they're looking forward and they're saying, you know what, we could probably bring in talent without the paperwork because again, you have so many brilliant minds out there, and I'll keep reiterating that point that you have so many different brilliant minds out there that school didn't teach them that. It just came to them. They had enough common sense and they had the wherewithal to say, okay, you know what? I didn't have to go to a 4 year college, 5 year college to learn it. I went on YouTube. I went on, you know, went in and I started researching it and I have the information and I know how to do it. And I've built my skill level up to a certain point that, hey, I will be an asset to this particular company. And it's happened plenty of times. And I always use the Gates, the Jay-Z's, so many different people as examples is because they did not limit themselves. And a lot of times we limit ourselves and we will really be our own worst enemy with not putting that iron in that fire and say, hey, there's one and I'm going to work that. I'm going to work it. But we limit ourselves because we're like, I don't have the paperwork for that. You know, I don't have the paperwork for it. And I'm just not that sure if I could literally do that, you know. So we have to build our confidence up and say, okay, I know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing, right? So being that you know what you're doing, move out on it. If there's more that you have to learn about that specific item or thing that you're doing, learn about it. Pull your phone up, look through YouTube, Google it, find out more about it. But a resourceful person is way better than a person that's on paper a lot of times because if you have different skill sets that you know how to do, the world is your oyster. I encourage those who are listening, who are watching this, that hey, always improve on yourself and always have an iron in the fire. That saying, you are a master, you are a jack of all trades, master of none, does not apply to you because being resourceful is priceless. So make sure that you know how to do something. Make sure that you have an iron in the fire and make sure you are in the fight. And that's the best way to do it is to make sure you are prepared and you're ready to go. All right. So thank you. This is Dad Talk Podcast signing out.